Hello, Whitefish. It's great to see you back for my third episode. Looks like a lot of you came here this week with a sun-kissed nose and lake water on your toes. I spent my weekend at a beautiful little lake on the outskirts of town, behind a mountain us locals know as Mountain Mall. Congratulations to the 127 seniors who graduated from Whitefish High School. Special shout out to Teague McDonald for throwing quite the epic grad party at the old Rancho Relaxo. Today, we are visited by Earl Reynolds. Like myself, we grew up snowboarding on the big mountain. We both moved away to perfect our craft and came back and have started families. We talk a lot about the loss of his best friend, Aaron Robinson. We also talk about how Whitefish has a bit of a never land problem. And of course, we talk about the art of cooking. You can find Earl this summer at Dancing Spirit Ranch. He'll be doing some pop-up events that are open to the public. Visit dancingspiritranch.com to find out dates and to get tickets. Earl partnered with our sponsors Thrivers Coffee to bring you this epic cooking video. It's all about how to make steak rubs and cook the perfect wagyu steak.
I'm Chef Earl Reynolds, and we're here with Hello Whitefish. Today we're gonna make a coffee rub using gochujang and Thrivers Coffee. This is a New York steak coming from Big Mountain Ranch Farms, just right outside of Whitefish, Montana. It is 95% wagyu and 5% Angus cow. Now we're gonna mix together all these ingredients. We have salt, garlic powder, light brown sugar, onion powder, black pepper, gochujang powder, and of course, Thrivers coffee. We're gonna have a nice balance between sweet, salty, round umami from the gochujang powder. The coffee's gonna give it just a little bit of a bitter, chocolatey note. Now we're gonna season the meat. You wanna put enough rub to where the surface of the meat just has a nice thin layer. You don't wanna put too much to where it's falling off in the pan. We're heating up our cast iron pan. We're using canola oil. Canola oil has a high smoke point, so you can get the oil nice and hot before it starts to smoke. A steak like this will take anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes. We're gonna go for medium rare here. So you do the butter and thyme at the end so the butter doesn't have an opportunity to burn. And now we're gonna put it into the oven for about 5 minutes. Now we're just gonna let it rest here for about 3 minutes before we slice it. That slaps.
Earl James Reynolds, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here.
Happy to be here.
What did you have for breakfast today?
I had a cookie. Yeah.
No way.
Uh-huh.
I had a cookie also.
Really? What kind of cookie did you have?
Oh, I had a Fleur cookie. I had those brown butter toffee cookies.
Nice. Ooh,
yeah.
Toffee's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
We went to Fleur this morning. My daughter had a chocolate chip cookie for breakfast.
Amazing.
Because that's the kind of father I am.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know what else she had?
What's that?
She had a mango macaron from
Wow.
Fleur.
Got to get the fruit.
Had to get some fruit in there.
Yeah.
Such a great parent.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're number one.
So what have you been up to? So you're no longer at Stonehill.
No longer at Stonehill.
Can you talk about what happened?
Yeah, I can talk a bit to that. I'll spare you of the details, but we were kind of in the middle of some contract negotiation, and it just wasn't really working out. And next thing you know, the restaurant was closed. Pretty abruptly. It was a little bit tragic, being nominated as a semifinalist, James Beard, and being in that running. And then, as soon as the restaurant closed, I was pulled out of the running. So that was...
oh, no way.
Yeah, that stung a little bit.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Because the restaurant closed, you got pulled?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair.
No, it was sad, but it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
You know, Stonehill was really great, and we accomplished a lot of cool things there in less than 2 years. So, you know, I'm grateful for that experience, but
Yeah.
onward and upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this summer, you're going to be at Dancing Spirit?
Yep.
Awesome. What are you going to be doing out there?
Yeah. So we have a number of different retreats coming in through the summer, and I will be cooking dinner primarily for all the people that come to the ranch. And then we have a wonderful AM crew. They're cooking breakfast and lunch. And beyond that, we are doing a series of pop-up dinners.
Ooh.
Yes.
That anyone can come to?
Anyone can come to. Open
Cool.
to the public. We're selling tickets on the website. We're going to do 5 courses paired with wine on the property. Should be cool.
Right.
Yeah, we're shooting for July 5th and 6th, and then another round in August.
Oh, that's great to know. Their garden that they have built there is insane.
It's immaculate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. They built it all out of old guardrails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so...
Like that are on the side of a highway kind of thing?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super cool, and the plants seem to really like that. I think it keeps the root systems nice and warm. It's just waking up. The garden's about ready to be just pumping out beautiful produce here in a matter of weeks, I would assume.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's cool.
So what was it like growing up in Montana? There might be a lot of people, actually I do know there's people watching this that just moved here that are now raising their kids in Montana.
Yep.
And I have a feeling those kids are going to have a different upbringing than the ones we had.
That's true.
Yeah. What was growing up in Montana like for you?
Gosh, growing up in Montana was pretty awesome. I didn't really realize how fantastic it was until I left Montana and got, a good dose of perspective. But, I grew up on a 7-acre lot with horses and chickens, and we had dirt bikes and 4-wheelers, and, there was just always something to get into after school with my siblings and I. We would, go on Sunday drives into the park, and, sometimes I would dread that. I don't want to get in the van, drive around with my brothers in the back seat. But, in hindsight, I'm so glad that we did that, so often. And, you go into the park a few times all summer, and you're like, all right, it's the park. And then you realize, a decade later, how amazing that was and how lucky I was to have that in my backyard.
Right.
Growing up in Montana was, I couldn't imagine really growing up anywhere else. It's hard to.
Especially because we grew up before the age of cell phones and the computer. So
True.
We just had to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And find lots of trouble.
Yeah.
To get into.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
Plenty of that. Had to use our imaginations, just building forts and, playing with video cameras and building, sketchy traps for each other. And, just doing what kids will do in the woods.
And being at the base of the ski resort and just my parents just dropping us off at the bus stop and then just letting us go up to the mountain and have that as our playground.
Amazing.
Which is just gives you such a interesting way of learning how to not get lost, because I got lost on that mountain so many times.
Sure.
Going to Flower Point, or just hiking into random places that you just don't know where you're going. And somehow we never got stuck in an avalanche or wherever.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got lost once for sure.
Yeah.
Up on the mountain, and just ended up having to backtrack. And I know exactly what I did and where I did it, and every time I'm ripping through Green Mile, I come to that bottom cat track. And can't keep going down that way.
No.
But I did that when I was 11.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I got lost this winter doing West Bowl, hiked to the top, and then I forgot that the Grand Junction is where the chairlift is.
Oh,
and so I went way over, and when I got down to the run, I was like, well, goddamn, I got some hiking to do.
Oh, wow. Got your steps in that day.
Yeah, I got my steps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that section. I'm kind of sad that we don't get to ride that anymore.
I know.
But we can ride it. You just have to You just have to walk out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. What happened after high school?
Yeah. So after high school, I was taking classes at the community college, lots of painting, lots of drawing. I was pretty excited about being an artist. And simultaneously, I was working at a restaurant that was called Pescado Blanco.
Oh, yeah.
No longer exists, but
Boy, that had a good run.
yeah, great run, amazing food. So I was working there, and I kind of had this moment where I realized that, food is an art form, and you can make it look pretty with color, texture. You can eat it. It's multidimensional. And that was just one of the kind of aha moments that I had that ended up sending me to culinary school in Seattle.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What school did you go to?
I went to Seattle Central Culinary Academy.
Okay.
Up on Capitol Hill in Seattle.
Nice.
Yeah, the program is still thriving, which is great to see. Amazing program. All the professors were incredible. They focused a lot on sustainability, sourcing locally. So that was really ingrained into my philosophy from the get, which is super important for young chefs. And, it's just really stuck with me, and it's a part of my philosophy now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How did you get into snowboarding?
I started out skiing like most people do. We would have these ski days at school once a year. I think we would get to go up to the mountain and ski. And then I never had gear or anything, so we would rent skis. We'd go to Snow Frog.
Yeah.
Rent skis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carlos Flory.
Shout out. Legend. We'd go to Snow Frog, rent skis and boots, and I remember my brothers and I being so excited. We'd line up all of our snow gear and the boots and the skis and put them on and go stepping around the yard in the snow.
Yeah.
And we'd ski. And then when I was in fourth grade, snowboarding was, coming out. It was like the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
So, of course, I wanted to go snowboarding, and my neighbor's dad at the time took us to Chair 6 and took my brother and I up for our first time. And by the end of the day, we were just, straight lining down Chair 6
Yeah.
and, almost kind of linking turns, but, doing the leaf thing. Heel side was pretty natural. And then just never looked back, just kept snowboarding from then on, and became really good friends with Aaron Robinson at an early age. And, chasing him around the mountain from 8th grade onward was just amazing. Like, just keeping up with him and his brothers really got me excited about bopping around the forest weightlessly on a plank.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were just such naturals at it.
Such naturals.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So who are the Robinsons?
So the Robinsons are a lovely family, Pam and Jeff.
Pam and Jeff.
Yep. And then Jason, Aaron, and Sean, just grew up. I think Aaron was at my 6th birthday party.
Awesome.
So just kind of through playing soccer and sports, our parents knew each other. And so we just started hanging out kind of organically at a young age. And then, as we got a little bit older, I remember I was like playing baseball, and I was sitting on the bench watching, everyone else play.
Yeah.
And this kid pops his head up, at the side of the dugout. And he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was just like, just keeping this bench nice and warm.
Yeah.
And it was Aaron. And, we just kind of like chatted a little bit and laughed. And I was just like, he seems cool. And, we just started hanging out and skateboarding, at the manhole after school. And
the manhole.
Yeah.
That place was just so influential.
Classic. Yeah, classic. The little 2-stair and the hips.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just started kicking it and skateboarding. And then, winter came, and I got to snowboard with him, 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
It was epic. I remember we were hanging out at, his folks' house on Lion Mountain. And I asked him, I was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Yeah.
And he's like, without hesitating, he's like, "I want to be a professional snowboarder."
Wow.
And I was just like, "Dang, do you think you can?" He's like, "Yeah." I I was like, sweet, you know? And I knew, you know, then I already knew that he had this natural ability. And, you know, of course, like I wanted to be a professional snowboarder too, but I was like, I just, you know, knew I needed a solid plan B, or maybe, you know, because I just, you know, realized right away that he was just on another level. Yeah. But yeah, we would do skate trips to Cranbrook, BC.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And, you know, we must have been like in 10th grade. And there was this hand railing down a 10 stair in the skate park. And, you know, A-Rob rolls up to it one time. I was like, no way. He skates away and comes back and just board slides the handrail, stomps it, first try, no warm-ups.
Damn.
And I was just like, you're an alien. Like, what?
Jeez.
And so, yeah, you know, it was just a nonstop after that.
Yeah.
You know, his skateboard and his snowboard just were an extension of his body.
Yeah.
And it was just stuck to his feet. He always landed on his feet. He was like a cat, you know? And, yeah, super insane just to watch his progression and how rapid it was.
Yeah.
It was a treat to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome to see him get picked up by K2. And a few years ago, actually more than a few, I went into the K2 headquarters in Washington, and there was this massive blow up picture of A-Rob cranking a method. It was just like,
wow.
This is so cool.
Man, he was like at the height of his career, and then tragedy, which seems to strike our community within our snowboard and skateboard community and even our town, just hit again. Can you talk about what happened to him?
So, you know, obviously I wasn't there, but from what I gather is they were, you know, it happened in July, which is fairly early season in Chile. So not a ton of coverage, but they were in this beautiful basin. You know, they dropped into it. I don't know if it was open or if it was closed, or, you know, what the deal was really, but Aaron dropped in, took a big turn, hit a rock, and then started tumbling into more rocks. You know, sustained a brutal head injury, and I think he died on the way to the hospital. But yeah, it was crazy. I was fishing on a boat in Southeast Alaska at the time, and I'll never forget, I randomly just felt like I was underwater. We were in the middle of a set, hauling the gear onto the boat, hauling fish onto the boat, and something just came over me. I literally felt like I was underwater. Like I couldn't really hear very well. Things got fuzzy, and like something just kind of like sunk in my stomach. And we were out of service. You know, I didn't really think much about it at the time, but as soon as we got back into service, I had, you know, a number of voicemails, none of them saying exactly what happened. But, you know, I knew something really, really bad happened, and talked to Pam, and, you know, she told me that he had passed. And I just remember, you know, going to the bow of the boat and just crying until we got to town. And, you know, it was brutal. I was planning on getting off the boat and catching the tail end of the season in Chile. And
wow,
A-Rob was going to show me around, and we were just going to shred. And so I ended up going to Chile on way different terms than I had imagined. But I went there for a few days. I think K2 covered my airfare.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got to go there, and I went to the zone where the accident happened, and the mountains there were, you know, just breathtaking. Like, you know, they made the Canadian Rockies look like meager.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But such incredible mountains. And I saw like his line.
Really?
I saw his turn.
Oh.
I saw the rock that he hit, and I just didn't have it in me to like approach the cornice any further. I didn't want to see anything after his last turn and the rock. But yeah, his last turn looked sick. I'm sure it was a good one. But yeah, got his ashes, and yeah, flying back into the States with a mysterious box of powder is pretty hard.
OMG.
Yeah. So we were caught up, in the airports and all the things for a while. Gina was with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a layover in Los Angeles, and we took his ashes, out to the beach. We had ice cream, had a pair of his shades on the box, and it was just like, fuck, we have his ashes. It's so crazy. It didn't seem real.
Right.
And, it didn't seem like real for a while. Just the whole grieving process is such a trip, and it's really just a lifelong journey, So that's been a process, and everyone has their own way of mourning and grieving. But yeah.
Man, to be gone so young, we've had so many people like lost through, and I always wonder about that. My girlfriend's like, she comments like, you guys seem to have experienced a significant amount of loss just within your community of skateboarders and snowboarders,
right?
More than others, I guess.
Yeah,
it's so odd. I mean, we've lost a lot to suicide, and there's a whole conversation about that. But then just the freak accidents, and I don't know if it's just like our lifestyle just kind of increases our odds of mortality. But
yeah, it is unusual to be around so many deaths at the age of 30, almost 38. Like lots of people that I've known have passed, and it's kind of a strange part about the community here. It's odd.
And about existence in general. It really makes you question existence.
True.
Like, I remember when we lost Dylan, like seeing him the night before to party. Yeah. And then just like, I think I saw him skateboarding that morning, like on his way to Stumptown or something. And then just again, another freak accident. Right. It's just insane.
Yeah. That one was hard to swallow.
That was so hard.
Literally like one of the strongest, gnarliest people I know. Yeah. Like what? He did what?
Right.
Seems mysterious.
It does seem mysterious.
Yeah.
But somehow we've gotten through it.
We do, yeah.
Having, I think one of my favorite things about the Nate Shute Classic is the Lap for the Lost. Yeah. Which, can you explain what the Lap for the Lost is? Yeah. For anyone that hasn't experienced it, if you're a skier or snowboarder, you should definitely do it at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So the Lap for the Lost is something that happens after the Nate Shute Hawaiian Classic, which is a 2-day event. One day of bank slalom, one day of border cross. And then on the last day, everyone meets on top of the ridge, right near the Gambler Express. Is that the name of the new chair?
I think so, yeah. You never know what dice you're going to roll.
Yeah. Do you feel lucky? So yeah, everyone meets there, and Shane Mulder, gives a speech of, talks about Nate and how the Nate Shute started, and then just opens the floor to anyone who wants to take their lap for someone that they've lost, either due to suicide or, not necessarily just suicide, but just you can talk about your experience in losing someone, and take your lap for whoever it is that's on your heart in that moment. And so everyone kind of holds each other and claps for each other and leans on each other, and there's lots of tears, and it's just a really cozy part of the snowboarding community here. And everyone it's a good reminder that everyone has someone to lean on. Sometimes you have to ask for it or send out a beacon for help if you need it. And then, after that's said and done, there's a moment of silence that's followed by a D-Lo roar.
Yeah.
So everyone's just roaring until they're blue in the face. And then everyone just shreds down together.
Yeah.
It's rowdy. Everyone's like, pew, 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 pew.
Totally.
Yeah, sending it off the ham jump. Like, people go nuts.
Dude, that jump is so gnarly, too.
It really is. There's rocks everywhere in the landing.
You gotta, thread the needle through those trees.
Yeah, that's a classic hit. It's never comfortable.
It makes you realize why the mountain produces so many good riders and skiers too.
True.
Because it's kind of a gnarly mountain.
It really is. I've ridden with a lot of pro snowboarders, but I feel like our mountain just breeds, there's so many trees. There's lots of tree skiing. You have to be kind of a Jedi to move so quickly through the trees. You're processing information, and while you're making a turn, you're already processing 2 turns ahead. And you're lying through the trees. So I feel like it just breeds people who are really quick to react to what's coming at them.
Totally. Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah, I love this mountain. I haven't found one that I like more.
I know. And I love what they're doing. I love what the management's doing with the mountain.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. It's like making it interesting again.
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All day.
What are your favorite ingredients only found in Montana?
Wow. Favorite ingredients only found in Montana.
Or that maybe aren't only found in Montana, but are found in Montana.
Sure.
Whether if it's foraging, hunting, fishing.
Absolutely. So I think we have to talk about huckleberries.
We have to have a conversation about huckleberries.
Yes.
Are they real? Are huckleberries real?
I don't know.
Tourists ask me, is this just a blueberry? Is this just a gimmick?
Yep. It's a trick.
Yeah.
Yes, huckleberries are real, in fact. I've had huckleberries in Washington and Oregon, and they're all very similar, but I think ours are just a little better.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the balance between sweetness and tartness, but man, the huckleberries are delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it gets kind of nauseating when you see tourists walking across the street with huckleberry jam and a huckleberry latte, and they're just stumbling into the street with their families without looking either direction. They're just like, wow, huckleberry zombies everywhere.
Totally. Huckleberry zombies.
Yeah. But I don't blame them. Get the huckleberry stuff while you're here.
Totally. Chow down.
I think the best way to eat huckleberries is just by the fistful right off the branch. Love eating them till I'm nauseous and sick.
Purple in the face.
Yeah, that's the best way. But they're delicious. The hype is real.
Yeah.
I'm down with huckleberries.
What about morel mushrooms?
Ooh.
What's your favorite way to prepare a morel mushroom?
I'd say I like to keep it pretty simple. I just like to sizzle them in butter. Maybe a little bit of shallot, garlic, splash of wine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, splash of white wine. That's pretty much all you need. Salt and pepper, obviously.
Yep.
But it's nice when you get the really big ones. You can, stuff them, like you would a pepper.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought to do that.
That's pretty fun.
Because they're pretty firm.
They are.
Yeah.
They hold up.
Yeah.
You can, I've stuffed them with, venison and crab and... you can do lots of stuff with them, the big ones especially. But
that's cool because they're kind of have a nice little fruitiness to them, a little bit of a nuttiness.
Yeah, and they they have this also this kind of pininess, just kind of tastes like the forest floor in a way.
Yeah.
But I'm obsessed with foraging for morel mushrooms. I was out 2 days ago and got nearly 20 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah, they're coming
Damn.
out.
Locally, or did you go to your other spot, which you told me about?
It was fairly local. Yeah. I'm happy to talk about where, depending on when this episode airs.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah. Maybe I won't say exactly where.
Yeah. But the thing about morels, they kind of meander.
It
depends on... Well, their mycelium live under the earth, so it's really dependent on when they fruit.
Right.
So different patches are going to fruit at different times.
Exactly.
A lot of people think it's based on forest fires and smoke and stuff, so they do grow in the ashes of burns.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It is right. Yeah. after a forest is devastated by fire, fungus and morels are, the first things to push back up out of the earth.
Cool.
So, there's natural patches, of course, of morels that you can come on to, and, those are great. But the smoky morels, they come up after a forest fire, and, normally at some point, the forest floor will crawl with them after a burn. And, it has so much to do with soil temperature and moisture. It's got to be this perfect combination of the two. And, it's all about timing. It's hard to know when they're going to come up, but you just have to scope the zones and, keep tabs on them. I've driven to fires multiple times just for, a drive.
Yeah.
A walk in the woods is never a bad time.
Mm-mm.
So, but yeah, it's all about timing. And once you start, feeling the timing aspect of it, then eventually you'll hit them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, Smoky Morels, if that's not a bluegrass band name, I don't know what is.
Yes, I love it.
What are some cooking tips for broke skiers and snowboarders?
Oh, man.
Because this town is full of them.
Cooking tips for broke
like
skiers
when you were
and snowboarders.
When you were younger, was there anything that like you did to like spice up that ramen?
Yeah. Well, what I would say to broke skiers and snowboarders is get a job in the service industry.
There you go.
Yeah. Because then you won't starve to death.
Yeah.
Like you'll get fed, you'll make money.
Yeah.
Eventually you won't be broke anymore.
No.
But growing up and even still, like, classically doctoring up ramen with a soft poached egg and some scallion.
Yeah.
Like that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe adding a little bit of miso paste to it.
Totally.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of ramen. I actually had some ramen a couple of nights ago, and
nice.
I didn't even doctor it up. I just shamelessly smash ramen. It's great.
That would be great to have around here. Just a little ramen stand.
Oh man, that would crush.
That would crush so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would crush. I love it. Can't get enough.
So, interesting point, actually, I'm very curious to ask you about is staffing shortages. What has your experience been with staffing shortages in the service industry?
Yeah, major staffing shortage. I think after COVID, obviously the restaurants had a really tough time during COVID. A lot of really great restaurants, didn't survive. We did pretty well here in Montana, especially in Whitefish. I think the restaurants got by.
Yeah.
You didn't hear of any closures really due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Or at least permanent closures.
Right.
But yeah, it's so hard to find kitchen staff, cooks, dishwashers.
Mm-hmm.
When we were kids, we were kind of forced to get out and, go wash dishes for a summer job and, working for $5.15 an hour and, the scariest kitchens ever.
Oh, yeah. I was Whitefish Lake Restaurant was my first.
Nice, mine too.
Hydro ceramics engineering job. Oh, you worked there too?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah.
It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the night, you had a pile of dishes, as tall as you.
Oh, totally.
But that was when I first kind of like became infatuated with, the culture of the kitchen. I was like, whoa, those guys are, playing with fire and flambeing pans and sharpening their knives and getting drunk. Like, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like pirate life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Working with Dan and Truby and all those guys.
Yeah.
Being like, damn, dude, those guys are epic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Legends.
So why is there a staffing shortage?
That's a good question.
Because every restaurant has like looking for staff.
Right. I don't really.
Affordable housing, cost of living.
I think
people just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of that. I think, working at a restaurant in Whitefish, with rent the way it is, you're not making a livable wage. And also, I think a lot of people just don't want to do it anymore. So, I think as a line cook in Whitefish, you have to be either A, working all the time, or, B, getting paid a nice wage. But, I think the shift is happening. People are paying more now.
Good.
Which is good. But it's kind of scary. You know? It's a scary thought to open a restaurant and, not be able to staff it appropriately.
What makes a successful restaurant? Do you need good food, capital behind it? It doesn't seem like it's a relatively easy or affordable thing to do.
Right.
We're just on a whim.
No. Yeah. I think, I think a good restaurant or a successful restaurant needs experienced people at the helm, to start. Obviously, a lot of capital behind it.
Yep.
Solid investors. Because you're going to have to weather a storm. Most restaurants fail within the first year, or at least don't make any money.
Damn.
So you have to have an investor or, capital behind it that can weather the storms but ultimately, of course, I would love to hope, or I'd love to think that, good food was necessary to a successful restaurant. But I do think in places that are really touristy, mediocrity as far as cuisine goes can survive, which is unfortunate because, there's so many tourists coming in. Even if every tourist eats at your restaurant once and never returns, you're going to be okay because millions of people come through here every year.
Millions.
Yeah.
That is not an exaggeration.
I know. Scary to say out loud.
Insane.
Yeah.
A town of 10,000 people hosting millions of tourists every summer.
Wild.
So crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's burgers and pizza.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And luckily, I think most of the places that do serve that are pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
They're pretty good,
Because word travels fast in this town.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I living here and growing up here, I've noticed a shift. You don't see any chef owners anymore.
Right.
It's kind of
interesting.
Becoming extinct, which is strange,
Huh. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. All these, restaurants are kind of being bought by larger corporations. And, when I was washing dishes and coming up as a young cook, every restaurant I worked at was owned by the chef. Quickie Sandwich Shop.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And
Truby's.
Pescado Blanco. Yeah, Truby's, great example.
Yep. Well, I guess that was Kristen, but same thing. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that's just kind of a weird shift. And I think when there are more chefs who own the restaurant, or at least a piece of the restaurant, I think the cuisine really reflects that. And,
yep.
Because they care.
Yeah.
They're in it.
Yeah.
It's their livelihood. It's their lives. It's their passion.
Yep. Oh, that's so interesting. What are the pros and cons of growing up in a ski town?
Yeah. The pros are pretty epic. We get to ski on the weekends all through high school.
Yeah.
My junior and senior year, I did this program where I took night classes at the college, so I only had to go half day.
Cool.
So I got to snowboard almost 5 days a week at least.
Oh, that's epic.
Go to lunch and go straight up to the mountain afterwards. So that was a huge pro. I think, who gets to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cons, I do think ski towns kind of can encourage this sort of never land mentality.
Mm-hmm.
People are just kind of content, skiing and working just enough to get by and partying. And it's, a lot of ski towns kind of have a culture like that.
Yeah.
And, it's just, it can be a tricky thing to get caught up in because, eventually, you're going to be, 60 years old and, living check to check or day to day doing that same program will be tough.
Yeah. Yep.
And, I've lived in Truckee, California, and, there's a lot of people crushing it, doing great things, but there's also a lot of people who are just kind of stuck in this kind of Groundhog's Day routine where, they wake up kind of hungover, they go ski, and then they go work their job at night. And I feel like it can kind of trap humans and keep them from growing to their full potential.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is a culture, or not a culture, but there is a problem with suicide in ski towns. It does affect ski towns significantly more.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. And that's a trippy thing because it's like, ski towns are incredible. We have, lakes everywhere. We have this beautiful mountain we get to play on. But at the same time, I think many ski towns have this party culture, and that can really wear on people's mental wellness. And I think when you're surrounding yourself with nothing but people who want to party, maybe the depth or the support when you're tripping up on some heavy life things might not be there in the capacity that you need it to be there. So maybe there's just like this disconnect where the party culture isn't providing or offering like really deep support where it's really needed.
Absolutely.
Which is sad because I also love to party, love to let my hair down and go party, but you have to moderate it, or at least I have to moderate it.
I do as well.
Yeah.
Especially the older you get, and now that we're both fathers to be, congratulations. By the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it definitely changes your priorities.
Yeah.
And damn, does this town love to party?
It really does.
And it's fun for a while.
Yeah, it is. It is really fun.
It does take its toll, and you really do have to be disciplined. Otherwise, it really can just be a black hole.
Right. Yeah.
Which is so interesting when you call it Never Neverland syndrome, because you think it's like, this is the perfect life here.
Yeah.
Especially people that moved here, they're like, it's great. You've got the mountain, you've got the park. Your dog park is epic,
Yeah. There's 8 bars on 3 blocks.
What is your favorite restaurant in town right now?
My favorite restaurant in town?
Should we give someone a shout out?
Yeah,
Who's killing it right now?
Let's do it. So favorite breakfast spot, Swift Creek.
I will second that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swift Creek is doing great things with flavor.
Yeah. Chef Christian just launched a new menu. I'm super stoked to get out there and check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I'd say that's my go-to breakfast spot.
How about for lunch?
Lunch. Let's see. Do we have to stay in Whitefish or can we go valley-wide?
Let's go valley-wide.
Fully.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to go there a few times a month.
Their pho is amazing.
I can't get enough. Yeah. I'm so happy that they're here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Big servings too.
Yeah.
I get the small bowl and it's like this big.
Yeah. The small bowl, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have that drip coffee with the sweetened condensed milk. It's like rocket fuel.
It's like a Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah,
style.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's rocket fuel. If you need to get some things done, get one of those to go.
Yeah.
You'll be zipping all over.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How about dinner?
Dinner.
Valley-wide.
Valley-wide dinner. Gotta say Moose's.
Moose's?
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of great restaurants, but just something about Moose's,
Yeah.
The pizza's amazing. They do a good spinach salad with strawberries and candied almonds. Classic.
Wow.
Yeah. It's solid. It's seasoned.
Yeah.
Smash a couple beers and eat some peanuts. It's great.
Yeah. Carve your name in wherever you want.
Yeah, carve your name in.
They'll give you a knife to do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I also really like going in there on a hot August night. It's so dark. It's cool. Have some pizza, a cold pint, and then you walk back out into the heat. It's a great contrast.
Oh,
love it.
I got to give a shout out to Blue Moon for their game night chili.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do a game night chili where you could go in and they would give it to you for free because it was, they're big hunters over there.
Right.
And it would either be venison or elk that they just had a surplus of. And so they'd cook up some chili and can't sell it because it's wild, so they would just be giving it out. I think on Mondays for like Monday Night Football.
Oh, nice.
Used to go in there and they just serve up some amazing chili.
Yeah. I went in there one time and they were having like a wild game cook-off or a wild game feast, and there was literally like crock pots everywhere. There was an outlet.
What?
There was crock pots, and people kind of set up, with their chilies. I think I had, all sorts of wild game. Yeah. Alligator, rattlesnake.
Oh.
Like it was crazy.
Damn.
But that was probably 4 or 5 years ago at least now.
Oh, love the Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Can't wait for rodeo season.
I know. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Blue Moon's great. I love picking up people from the airport. First stop, Blue Moon.
Yeah. People are like, are there any museums around here? I'm like, oh, we have a great natural history museum. Yeah. And I'll take them to the Blue Moon.
Absolutely.
What makes a good chef in Montana? I think we kind of touched on this a little bit.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, a good restaurant really needs a good chef. So what stokes you out when you go to a restaurant and you see see a chef doing something interesting?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that make a good chef. Starting with like your leadership style. So historically chefs, were, really militant, kind of assholes, dysfunctional, toxic. Yeah. Breathing down your neck, calling you an idiot. Yeah. Telling you you're a piece of shit. And that's so dated, and I'm so glad that's becoming extinct. It's totally possible to lead a team into service every night, being approachable, positive. Yeah. And like really being a mentor to these, cooks, young, old, whatever. So to me, like, that's really important. I love teaching people what I know, and when the students are, feeling safe, that keeps me happy, keeps me coming back to work. And of course, technique has to be there. I really love chefs that are thinking outside the box. Yep. And, doing things that, it's cool when you come across something like, I never would have put, strawberries and green cardamom together, but this is just magic.
Oh, wow.
So I really love when, you come across chefs doing things that are, that are a little abstract. And, I recently went to New York City and got to eat at a couple of restaurants out there, and just the inspiration of one night, walking around the city, it's so crazy what you can absorb when you have access to food like that.
Oh, where did you go in New York? Where are some standouts?
Yeah, so I went to 1 White Street. My buddy Austin Johnson just got his first Michelin star there. Wow. Yeah. Damn. Him and I fished in the same fleet in Southeast Alaska. Okay. And prior to that, we both worked at Canlis underneath Jason Franey. So we both worked the same hotline, and then we kind of randomly both decided to go fishing without even being in communication about it. And we had a killer summer fishing in the same fleet. And, wow. But yeah, his food is super clean, like straight to the point. They have a beautiful farm in upstate New York, and everything's just straight from the farm, straight to the restaurant. Oh, amazing. Yeah. So that really stood out, and went to a couple amazing cocktail bars, employees only, and Katana Kitten. Okay. Insane. I think they're both rated like top 50 cocktail bars in the world. Wow. But yeah, just next level cocktails, highballs. Like, I haven't had a highball drink, and just everything was so intentional. Yeah. So thoughtful, so creative. Their ice cubes are, beautiful. Translucent, yeah. Like just fitting each glass perfectly. Wow. You're just like, wow, it's all these little details just stack up into having this mind-blowing experience. Dang. It's cool.
So what are you most excited about as a future dad?
she'll be born in September, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see her eyes. You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
It's so trippy to see my wife's stomach moving and feel her kicking, and I'm like, whoa, there's a little human growing in there. But yeah, just seeing her eyes will be, you know, so powerful.
Yep. Oh, that first time when they look at you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I bet.
Yeah.
Unforgettable, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to just kind of like, you know, hang with my little daughter and
Yeah.
you know, goof off with her, and
Yep.
I'm super excited for the world to seem more enchanted again through, you know, kind of the lens of a little child.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember like everything seemed so magical, you know, when you're a little kid, like, you know, especially like growing up here. I remember being at City Beach, like bubblegum ice cream, running around the beach, running around like that little concession stand. Like it was just incredible.
So epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to share that experience again, you know, in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Earl, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Morgan.
Yeah. So where can people come to eat your delicious food this summer?
Yeah. So the supper clubs we're doing are open to the public. We have tickets on sale now for our next one on dancingspiritranch.com on the website. And yeah, we're selling tickets for July 5th and 6th. And then stay tuned for August dates.
August dates.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the menu might entail?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I have just now started writing the menu.
Yeah.
But things are finally waking up in the garden, and we're going to just put the garden on blast. You know, there's going to be a rhubarb dish to open up that I'm working on. I'm going to do a surf and turf with morels and seaweed. So it's kind of, you know, a vegetarian version of surf and turf with morels, coral tooth mushrooms, and a few different varieties of seaweed. I'm stoked about that dish. And yeah, that's about as far as I've gotten.
Damn, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, should be fun. Also, spruce tips are really fun to cook with this time of year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate that. I want to do a spruce tip and watermelon dish.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got to do some more cooking videos too.
Let's do it. That was super fun.
Rad.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Earl.
Yeah, thanks, Morgan.
Awesome.